I'm here to make people aware of fentanyl and how it has affected my life and how it's not going away. And I just want to spread the word. People are dying every day. I had to bury my son, and I don't want another mother sitting here and explaining this. Jackson was the baby, and I used to joke and say if I had had him first, I would have been done. He was a stinker. I babied him. He had 2 older siblings that babied him. They also knew if they wanted something done or wanted to go get ice cream to get Jackson to ask Mom, because it'll be an automatic yes. So, but he was a stinker. He disliked school. It was, and he was so smart. He was so smart. But getting him up, getting him around, getting him to school was just a challenge every day. But when he got to school, he made good grades. You had to stay on top of him. 8 years old, I handed him a Rubik's Cube, and he had that thing figured out in a day. He loved Legos, loved tinkering, loved putting things together, loved Mustangs. I would get him a Lego just to keep him busy. He was a busybody. And he could have that thing. He threw the instructions away, and he would put that thing together just by looking at the box, basically. And then later on in life, he took to the guitar. My dad is an avid guitar player, and so he picked it up. We got him in lessons. He made about 6 lessons and then decided to quit. That wasn't for him, so he was sort of self-taught. And then when he really got good, he was, jamming to stuff I didn't particularly care for. I was loud and distorted.
He was so smart. At like 5 years old, he was saying he wanted to go work for Apple. He had an iPhone. He was so spoiled. He was so loved.
He was so kind and loving towards others. He was passionate about his family. His dad raced cars. When he was young, he loved his dad's yellow Mustang. And he was going to grow up and own a Mustang, and he was going to race. And so he was really involved in the tinkering, and he loved the Lord.
He was so funny. So at my son's birthday party, it was 11 days before Jackson died, I have a video where Jackson's laughing, and I replay that probably several times a week, every week, to listen to him laugh, like obsessed. It's an obsession because his laugh is so contagious. I miss it.
He always wore a T-shirt that said, "I'm a member of the antisocial social club." And it's like, really, Jackson? Because, 5 minutes into a gathering, he's the life of the party, and he's laughing and making everybody laugh. And he had a real dry sense of humor. Funny. He was just funny. But a stinker. A stinker for sure.
He was so weird. I would try to get him to get out of the house, like go hang out with your friends. I don't understand how this happened to him because he wasn't real social. I don't feel like he did the things that I did when I was a teenager. I would try to get him to go do things, like go be a kid, go do crazy stuff, go have fun. He didn't want to go do those things. But when he did come out of his shell and he did laugh and he did act a little crazy, he was just so funny. I remember there were a lot of ups and downs with his schooling. I think that he didn't have a big, attention span to be able to concentrate on school. I know Jackson had been diagnosed. I don't remember if it was ADHD or I think it was ADHD. He was very hyper, and would not concentrate. He would like go around the house with a cell phone, like recording everything that he did. And there's one where he's recording himself getting help with his homework. And Donna's trying to tell him the answer, you know, to help him. And he repeats back what she says, and it's totally opposite of what she just told him. He could not concentrate for seconds at a time because his mind's just going.
He contemplated quitting school, and I called the school and I said, look, you need to help me help him. He's on the verge of quitting, and he can. He's of age. And they said, that's the last thing we want, Mrs. Johnson. Let us figure something out. I said, okay. They called me back and they said, can he do a half a day? Everything online in a very small classroom setting. And I said, that's perfect. And it was perfect for Jackson. He, like I said, he was just not as school smart as he could be, didn't apply himself. You know, school was just a hassle. It was in the way. Jackson always wanted to fit in. And he was just he just didn't find the right click. And he would hang around some questionable kiddos, and, you know, I would have conversations with him. And I said, use your words, you know, to be positive with them. And I know in high school he had some issues with vapes. He got caught with a vape and sent to the alternative center, and I just thought that was the end of the world. Here's his mother, teacher, going to pick her son up at the alternative center. And so we talked to him. His dad, I talked to him. His stepdad talked to him. And his big sister talked to him. Both big sisters. He has two big sisters. He has an older brother that said, look, you don't know what's out there right now. It's bad. Turn on the news, watch, and listen. They are putting fentanyl in everything. You think you're getting a vape, and they've laced it with something. He had that not me attitude. Not me. It won't happen to me. I sent him a text one time of a dad. It was an interview I was watching. It was a dad who had just lost his daughter to fentanyl. She was vaping. And I get a reply, and he's like, blah, blah, blah. You know, just like, it's not going to happen to me, Mom. Quit worrying, quit stressing. And it did happen to him. And here I sit.
I think he was hanging around the wrong kind of people. And we kind of started noticing he was a little depressed. His friends weren't the best people. We had noticed that my dad felt he might be doing the wrong things and did an at-home drug test, and Jackson tested positive for cocaine. And Jackson had gotten in a little bit of trouble with his friend, and he was acting out some. He wasn't acting like himself. We knew something was wrong. We didn't know what it was. And that was what was wrong. He was experimenting with cocaine.
Jackson sort of floated in between his dad's house and my house. His dad and I are not together. We're divorced. And so he, you know, whoever was giving in to him for the week is where he stayed. And his dad would drug test him every once in a while because Jackson would have you so convinced that he wasn't doing anything. And I'm pretty naive, and I'd go, okay, you know, I believe you. His dad, not so much. So his dad drug tested him regularly. and found cocaine one time. And of course, we just both went crazy and talked, got him help. We found a psychiatrist, and he was of age that he could go back there and talk to him without us. And he never disclosed to us what their conversation was or anything, but I made sure that he went. We made sure that he was there. And we thought we thought it was helping. But Jackson had a very good way of, like these kids do nowadays, hiding things. The phone is dangerous. We would go through his phone regularly, and we'd call him out on things, and that's not him, and he had an excuse for everything. But after seeking help, we thought we're on the up, right? We're doing good. But that's how convincing these kids can be. And it might not be every kid, but my son just, you're crazy. You all are crazy. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm not doing. You need to stop worrying about me. And that, and just getting in the wrong crowd, just feeling like I need to belong, and this is the group that accepts me. And he did have two very good friends that were very close to him and did not take that path. But they also, we feel like they knew what was going on and didn't tell us. And so they have to live with that now. One of his very best friends he's sunk into a depression, and it was very easy for us to get mad at him and lash out. But I remember, you have to think back when you're friends with somebody, you what you talk about and what you say is like, that's between us, man. And I don't think that this friend ever thought that this would happen to Jackson. But I just pray for his friend, and I know he's working through his demons. But I pray for him every day because I know he's hurting like we are. And that's what it does. Jackson suffered from insomnia. I mean, we tried everything. We tried prescriptions. We tried, these supplements. We tried different foods. And he just did not sleep. So he got a pill from a coworker who is now in trouble with the law. And he took that pill the night that we think he took it. We don't know for sure. He was in his bedroom and he took this pill to help him sleep. And sometime in the night, we don't think it was at night because he was at his dad's house, and his dad that night had gone in when he got in from work, checked on him, and told him he loved him and hope he could sleep and good night, say his prayers and all that. And so at some point, we don't know when, through the night, he must have taken the pill that was given to him. And it was laced with fentanyl. And the next day, his dad found him in his bed, blue and cold. And my husband and I were at the movies. And his dad kept calling me. And I texted his dad and said, my husband and I are at the movies. What's going on? And he called again, and he said it was 911 to call him. And I, of course, immediately raced out of the movies and called him, and I could barely make out what he was saying. He was saying, Jackson's dead. And I said, his phone is dead? Are you talking about his phone? Like, I'm lost at this point. And he said, Jackson is gone. And from this point on, I don't know what happened. I texted my husband and said, grab my purse and meet me at the truck. Quick. I remember racing through Synergy and just getting to the truck, and at this point, I'm full-blown, like, panic attacked. And we get in the truck, and I just start saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And I could not breathe. And we got to his dad's house, and I saw all of the first responder vehicles outside, and I knew that I did not hear that his phone had died. I just went walking in and just sort of collapsed. And it's just a call that a mom does not want to get. And I don't know if it's a blur or if I choose to block it out. I know I just collapsed, and I remember walking to his room in the hallway, and there was an officer standing outside of his room. And I said, you need to let me in. He said, no, Mom, I can't. And I said, that is my son in there, and I need to talk to him. And he said, no, ma'am, I can't let you in. And I thank God now that he didn't let me in. God knew he was watching out for me. And then we just all kind of stood around, and the medical examiner came in to speak to us and was telling us what was going to happen, and that they were going to put his body on a stretcher and walk him out of the house. And did I want to be there, or did I want to go to another room? And I said, absolutely not. And so I went and sat in the kitchen. And that was my life changed forever on February 11th.
He did have a very hard time for a long time sleeping. He would stay up all night, all the time, and we believe that that's why he ended up taking the pills. He worked with a girl that ended up getting charged for manufacturing and distributing, and for a case unrelated to Jackson's. Several people actually overdosed for fentanyl pills from her, and he worked with her, and that's where we believe that he got the pills from. The morning after Jackson was found dead, she released a Snapchat video talking about how stupid my brother was and how it was his fault for taking the pill, and how he should have been cautious knowing what those pills could contain. I didn't even know about fentanyl till it happened to Jackson. I started researching and looking into it, and then I thought, well, this became a problem after after Jackson. It's crazy how much this became a problem after Jackson died. Then I started thinking, well, maybe this didn't become a problem after Jackson died. Maybe the problem is, and this is where I think this is reality, the problem isn't that this became a problem after Jackson died. The problem is that people don't realize this is a problem until after it affects them. And then they want to advocate and help save the people that it hasn't happened to. People don't want to advocate or help until it's affected them. That's sad. I'll never forget. I was in Vegas with my husband on our anniversary trip. I was actually at Margaritaville. We were about to eat, and I got a phone call, and she said, Jackson's dead. And I thought I heard her wrong. And I took off running. I left my husband there, and I just took off running. My husband went back after me, and I got to the hotel room. I just started throwing all my stuff in the bag. We got an Uber. I bet you I threw all my stuff in the bag within 10 minutes. We got to the airport and got a ticket to the flight. We did not make it to the gate in time, so our bags were on the way from Vegas to Dallas, and we were stuck in Vegas. We had to get a hotel and wait until the next day, so I was freaking out because I just wanted to get home to my dad. It felt like forever. I always tell everybody it was 7 days. Jackson, his mom went into labor on a fishing trip. In Del Rio. And I was at home, and I didn't go with them. And it was like the longest waiting period, waiting for them to get home with that baby. I couldn't wait. And it was 7 days till I got to see him and meet him. And it was 7 days till I got to see Jackson in his casket. From the time that I found out that he was dead until I got to tell him bye. In the months following Jackson's death, I could be driving, in like the HB parking lot or whatever, and not know how I made it, like, through that parking lot. Just be like a zombie, just functioning, not really living, just going through the motions of life. And I would feel guilty for my own kids because I wasn't really being a mother to them. I'm just going through the motions of driving, going through the motions of whatever, like totally emotionless, just, barely breathing. I'm doing better. It's a daily healing. I think that some days I feel like I've moved forward in the process, and then there's days that I feel like I've stepped way back. I think that a lot of things have been lost with the death of Jackson. Like our lives in general will just never be the same. It's different when you lose an elderly person. Like, it hurts, but there's some peace there too. When you lose somebody like this, and this is the first time this has ever happened to me, it's just so different. You have to come to peace knowing that there are never going to be any answers. Like, you're never going to get any, there are some things that are never going to be answered ever. And you have to be okay not having that closure. And that's hard. It's hard to accept that, like, what we think may have happened may not have happened, and what our answers in our head may not be the real answers. We could spend our whole lives trying to write a book about what we think is real, and it might not even be what is. And like my dad, he is not the same person that he was, and I don't know, our lives are just so different in every aspect.
I've not been able to go back to work. I've started to sub a few days a week. I just feel like if I can't give it my all, 110%, I don't need to I'm not there. I'm not there right now. And when I go to work, there are a lot of triggers. You're in a classroom full of 3 Jacksons, and it's like, okay, I have to have a moment. I have a me moment. Or somebody wearing a band t-shirt that he loved. He loved Nirvana. And those t-shirts are everywhere. And so I'll be in a classroom, and here comes a kiddo in and wearing their Nirvana shirt, and I just look at it and I smile. I get upset too, and I smile. I'm very strong in my faith. And after this happened, I questioned God, like we all do, I'm sure. And I said, why me? And I got mad at him, and I got really mad at him, and I didn't go to church. And thank goodness that I have prayer warriors all around me that love me and pray for me daily. And I've been back in church for the last probably 9 months. And I'm better. It hasn't gotten easier, but it's gotten softer, if that makes sense. I can talk about him. Now, it took me a long time. I have pictures in my house that I've had that when he was alive, they were there. However, I cannot hang new things. It's like I accept what was there before, but I don't want to see anything after. I have not been able to open the door to his room. And when I'm ready, I'm ready. I'll get there. It's just every day I miss him. I don't know how to, it's just, you can't describe it. You can't explain it. I think of him. I cry. I turn the radio on. I hear a song. I cry. I'm getting better every day. And I'm able to I'm sharing memories. And when I hear someone share something about him, I can laugh. I don't get as angry as I did. I don't question God anymore. So every day's getting a little bit better. It's just one day at a time, one foot in front of the other. And when I'm down, I turn to Jesus, and I just have to keep going. I have to keep sharing his story and spreading the word. My takeaway now is don't be a naive mom like I was. Be in their business. Be in your children's business. Be in their phones. Do not allow them to have that phone 24/7. Know their passwords. Sit down and talk to them. Don't let them convince you of things. That's not happening around them. They don't know anybody that does that. I want to talk to mamas. I want to talk to dads. I want to talk to family, siblings. Get help. You cannot do it on your own. Don't trust anything your friends give you. Your friends may not really be your friend. Not only that, but that friend doesn't know where they got whatever they got, and so on and so forth. And so a friend's giving you something. Where did that friend get this? The friend doesn't know. So do not trust anyone. Just do not let your guard down. I don't want another mom in this chair. I don't want another family member in this chair, in this spot, sharing memories of their children. If you think it's not a problem, if you don't ever say not me, not mine. I said that. My son said that. And here I sit. So I'm going to be a voice. I told him at the funeral home, everybody on the day of his funeral, everybody had walked out. Of course, Mama was the last one. And I bent over his casket. And I looked at him and I said, I kissed him. And I said, I hear you. I hear you, son. And Mama's not going away. And that's exactly what I said. It's every day I hear of a story of someone overdosing or on a high-speed chase, and they get caught, and then of course they've got all kinds of drugs and fentanyl, and it's every day, and it's not getting better, and it's not going away. So I'm one mom, I'm one voice, but I'm loud, and I will be heard.